It was another cold and quiet evening for Thomas, a part-time rideshare driver. He was used to driving through the night, picking up strangers and listening to their stories. But tonight felt different. The streets were deserted, clogged in thick fog that muffled every sound. Just as he was about to call it a night, a notification buzzed on his phone, a new ride request. The pickup location, an old train station on the edge of town. Thomas hesitated. He had heard stories about that place, how it had been abandoned for decades, but the fear was unusually high and curiosity got the better of him. Thomas pulled up to the crumbling station. The platform, dimly lit by a flickering street lamps, was empty, or so he thought. As he waited, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a woman, pale and slender dresses. It was a woman, pale and slender, dressed in what looked like vintage clothing, something from the 1920s. She moved gracefully, almost floating, as she entered the back seat. Her presence sent a shiver down Thomas' spine. "Where to?" he asked, his voice cracking slightly. The woman didn't answer. Instead, she pointed straight ahead, her finger trembling slightly. The drive was unsettling. The woman sat completely still, her hands folded neatly in her lap. Thomas glanced at her through the rearview mirror, trying to make sense of her silence. "Are you from around here?" he asked, attempting to break the tension. No response. As the car moved deeper into the fog, the temperature inside plummeted. Thomas turned up the heater, but the chill remained. Then, out of nowhere, a faint whisper filled the car. "Do you believe in ghosts?" Thomas froze, gripping the steering wheel tightly. "Excuse me, did you say something?" The woman didn't move, but her reflection in the mirror shifted. Her lips curled into a faint, eerie smile. After what felt like an eternity, the GPS directed Thomas to an old, dilapidated house surrounded by trees. The windows were shattered, the roof sagging under the weight of time. "This is your stop?" Thomas asked hesitantly. The woman nodded slowly. Without a word, she stepped out of the car and walked toward the house. As she did, the scent of roses lingered in the air, a stark contrast to the decay surrounding the property. Thomas looked at his phone to end the ride, but the app showed no record of the trip. His screen displayed no active ride. Confused and a little scared, Thomas stepped out of the car. "Ma'am, I think there's been a mistake." But she was gone. The door to the house creaked open as if inviting him in. Against his better judgment, Thomas approached. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay. On a mantelpiece in the living room, he noticed an old black and white photograph. It was the woman. She was standing on the very train platform where he had picked her up. Beside the photo was a newspaper clipping. His blood ran cold as he read the headline. Beside the photo was a newspaper clipping. His blood ran cold as he read the headline. "Young woman killed in train accident 1925, body never recovered." The room suddenly grew colder and the scent of roses became overpowering. Behind him the door slammed shut. Thomas turned, heart pounding, to see the woman standing there, her face no longer serene but twisted into a grotesque hollow grin. Her eyes were dark voids pulling him into their depths. Her voice echoed in the room. "Do you believe in ghosts now?" The next morning Thomas's car was found abandoned on a desolate road near the old house. His phone was still in the holder, the engine running, but Thomas was gone, leaving behind only the faint scent of roses.